Hi, my name is Ed Hipkins. I am a sound designer and composer from Bristol, and I built this instrument. It's the second iteration of instrument that I've been building. Started at the beginning of this year, had never made an instrument before, and was involved with the VR game with Aardman in Bristol, and they wanted to make. They wanted to have some instruments that you could play in VR, and we had a meeting, and we couldn't quite realize how that was going to work. So I thought, I know, I'll just build something that works like a bit of a game. And if you haven't seen that, there's I've got another video of that. There's a big wheel here which plucks different things, and basically there's 8 slots where you can put different beaters, and you can make different rhythms. And so this is the kind of second iteration of an experimental instrument that I'm building, and this I wanted to be slightly more versatile. So I wanted to be able to do lots of different things in a very compact place, and explain exactly the thinking behind that, or some of the thinking behind that. If I miss anything out, or if you've got questions about it, please put them below. I will answer them as soon as I can. So let's just go over some basic instruction for those people who are making experimental instruments, and where to start. Okay, I would recommend to start by starting. Just get on with it. Don't worry about it too much. And to see where the project takes you, basically. So it's like, well, just go for it. I started with a box. This is just 18mm ply, which I got cut for me from B&Q. It's got no specific acoustic properties. It's just solid and cheap, relatively cheap, and it looks medium nice. It's hardwood, but it doesn't need to be hardwood. Any sort of ply. I'd recommend something that's fairly solid, just because it'll take a bit more of a beating, and it's easy to screw into. So, yeah, it's just some sheet material screwed together and cut by the local hardware store, B&Q. Thank you, B&Q. This is the first specialized, or the only really, apart from maybe the bridge and the guitar. It's a specialized bit of musical wood. It's the back of a acoustic guitar, so it's some mahogany sounding board, which I got online because I wanted something that was thin and hard, basically. So it's pretty difficult to get sheet material that's thinner and solid. That's a hardwood. So I kind of built it around the dimensions of this because I didn't want to cut it, and I wanted as much real estate space on the top as I could possibly get. So I built the whole box around this, which I got online. And then there's a K&K Pure Sound mic under this part. So you can hear the difference in sound. You can see it picks up quite a lot of sound across the board. But it's concentrated just here. There's 3 of the contact mic. There's 3 bits of the contact mic. There's one near the bridge, and there's 2 over here to try and get an even distribution of sound across the board. And then so that's kind of sounds just normal without any effect. Well, that's a bit of reverb. Okay, so that's just picking up those, and then there's a pickup on the guitar. So in here, this is the K&K, and this is the pickup. So I can kind of do some volume curves, just with the auxiliary send. It's quite useful having an independent and volume here. I would recommend that. It adds a lot to what you can do. Okay, so let's just go over some bits over here. So these are 2 bits of wood. Just scrap hardwood, nothing particularly special. I just got them for like 50p out of the bin at a local wood recycling centre. And they were initially just used for holding down the rulers. But then I kind of, I left them a little bit longer and then plucked them and was like, oh, they sound pretty good. They're quite versatile. And I suppose the main philosophy behind putting stuff on the board is it needs to be versatile. It's nice to be able to bow. It's nice to be able to pluck. It's nice when improvising to have options, and it's just fun. It's just fun to experiment with how to play these sorts of things. So yeah, there's 2 bits of hardwood there, and they hold down these 3 steel, just 12-inch steel rulers with different lengths left. No particular measuring, just kind of experimenting with those. You kind of literally stick them over the end of a table, give them a pluck, and say, "Oh, that sounds right." And then you've obviously got to have the opposite. You've got to sort of find somewhere that works both ends, and then put them on, and then they're kind of mounted there. So these 4 next bits are sprung steel from a bandsaw blade. Oh. And they provide slightly higher notes. They're maybe not as versatile, but this one's got a really pure sound, which I use it for different things, which I'll show you later. It's quite nice that it's... I mean, what I'd probably do is tune the guitar to these notes. I haven't done that at the moment, but that might be quite a good idea, because these are much harder to change. And this guy you can scrape. Looks like it might need to be... Ooh. So yeah, so they're just sprung steel from a bandsaw blade. I got the teeth ground off, so they're slightly friendlier to play. And then this going up here is a piano wire, just on a cello bridge. It's kind of wrapped round a bolt down there and attached to a handle here. So what you can do is you can detach the handle, and the idea is you can change the pitch. It's slightly tight, and he's adjusting at the moment, so I'll do that. But this kind of... provides some hellish soundscapes. Etc. So that's quite a nice thing, just to get some quite visceral sounds. You can also play the bridge, and one of my favourites, you can play the this. It's actually a walking stick that I made, but I chopped up because I was looking for something to use. So you can play that. And it just goes through a hole in here, just drilled a hole, and the piano wire goes through there. And it was just a way of keeping everything out of the way and incorporating this handle somewhere that kind of worked. That's what all those things are. Then we come to this guitar, which I played before. The reason and the rationale behind the guitar, I was going to sort of build in a harp, or I was thinking about having an auto harp type thing, or putting a load of strings down here or something. I wanted a way of making chords, and I wanted a way of making as many chords as I could. And then I realised that people had already thought about that, and they'd made the guitar. So in terms of real estate, it's a really quick and easy way of both doing melody and chords super efficiently, basically. And then they both come, obviously this is the pickup, that's the K&K, into a mixing desk, and then the mixing desk simply goes through, that's a preamp, so that's on the in, that goes in, and then on the outward journey, it goes through this, which is an Electro Harmonics pitch shifter, the pitchfork, which is really useful just for adding some meat to the bones. Let me just show you that. So you can add up to 3 octaves up or 3 octaves down, plus a major scale up or down. You can also, in the middle, you can do some harmonies, so you can have a pitch up and down, which is quite cool. Let's just show you what that sounds like. So normal acoustic guitar. Let's just turn the reverb down a touch, shall we? I mean, nice. But then let's just put this, I'm just going to fade up an octave below underneath that to get an effect. And suddenly it sounds really quite a lot more cinematic. Okay, let's try 2 octaves down. I wouldn't recommend, I mean, you can obviously blend it entirely, but suddenly it loses a lot of the top end, which so it loses a lot of the fidelity. So mixing the two sounds the best as far as I'm concerned. You can then obviously put one up and one down, so you can have different kind of chords. You can play with a single note. So you can have a major sixth, you can have sort of a major chord. So this is a really useful little thing for just adding some as much variety to all the different bits as possible. I've been quite selective about what pedals I use. So you can see I'm just got one at the moment, and the reverb is standard. It makes everything sound great. It's Mercury Meris 7. Thank you, Meris, for making that. And yeah, this just added some pitch options. So the one last thing I'll show you before I leave you alone is just that you can use this to, you can hear that, actually you can hear the noise just changing pitch. So let's put it to 100%. So if you put the reverb up, the mix of the reverb up, just to soften it up a little bit. Kind of sounds like that. And so that's kind of it, really. So some basic building skills needed, really. Like if you can use a drill, you can do this. It's really not very hard at all. And then it's this kind of just experimenting. None of the parts were particularly expensive individually. And just kind of get on with it. If you want to see it all in action, oh yes, it all goes through a loop pedal then. And then I can kind of set loops up and then add things over the top, and it becomes really good fun. If you want to see that in action, check out some of my other videos. That'd be great. If I haven't answered your question, if you've got questions that I've foolishly left unanswered, please comment below. I'm very happy to answer any questions. And yeah, I hope this has helped. This is just my experiment. I'd be really interested to see what yours are. Okay, thanks very much. Take it easy and see you soon. All right, bye.